Doing research on Seth MacFarlane because of Orville and Star Trek, I found a very weird coincidence with 4 actors that are all involved in his life. Seth MacFarlane himself narrowly missed being on Flight 11, the first plane that the terrorists used to hit the World Trade Center. Yes, he was supposed to be on that flight that hit the World Trade Center. He missed the flight, though, because he got drunk the night before with the RISD people. He had done a lecture at his alma mater, and they went out and drinking the night before, so he was late for the flight. And he was sitting in the airport lobby waiting on the next one, and he saw the plane hit the building. Also, Mark Wahlberg just changed his plans and went to Toronto to a film festival. But Mark Wahlberg and Seth MacFarlane were both supposed to be on Flight 11, the very first plane that hit the towers, and they both missed it. That's a big, giant coincidence.
There you were. You were booked on the flight, I think, from Boston that hit the South Tower. Mm-hmm. And you didn't get on it. Why?
A combination of two things. I was giving a lecture at my college the night before and went out with some of the faculty afterwards and had a few pints. And
so you got drunk?
Yes. And coupled with the fact that my travel agent had listed the flight on my itinerary as leaving 10 minutes later than it did. And I was generally late for flights. I had missed a lot of flights prior to that, so it wasn't like it was anything crazily out of the ordinary. But I got to the counter and I said, yeah, I'm booked on Flight 11, and the woman behind the counter said, sorry, you're too late. They just closed the gate. And I said, all right, well, I'll take the 11 o'clock. Went into the lounge, fell asleep, woke up about 45 minutes later to a commotion, and the first plane had hit, and sat there and watched the second plane hit, and they announced what flight it was, and I turned to the guy next to me and said, my God, that was the flight I was supposed to be on. I was late. I missed it.
What an incredible thing to realize has just happened to the plane you should have been on.
Yeah. I mean, it's there was that wonderful unity that we've since completely abandoned. I've never felt more than when I was standing at the bar at 9 o'clock in the morning and saying to the bartender, hey, can you pour me a shot? And he's like, yeah, here you go, it's on the house. And that feeling that must have been what our grandparents felt during World War II, where this is, in that moment, everything was, we're all the same. But I'm not a fatalist. I was not shaken to the core in the way that I changed my whole outlook on life, mainly because I had missed planes before, and coincidences do happen. I mean, a day before that incident, I could have been crossing the street 5 minutes earlier and gotten hit by a car and never known that I just missed it.
Mark Wahlberg was also supposed to be on Flight 11, the same plane that Seth MacFarlane missed.
Mark Wahlberg found himself in hot water this week after suggesting in an interview with Men's Journal that he would have forcibly overtaken 9/11 hijackers had he been a passenger on a 9/11 flight. Wahlberg, who was in fact scheduled to be on American Airlines Flight 11 the morning of September 11th, said, "If I was on that plane with my kids, it wouldn't have went down like it did. There would have been a lot of blood in that first-class cabin, and then me saying, okay, we're going to land somewhere safely. Don't worry." The reaction from journalists and victims was swift, many pointing out the insensitivity of Wahlberg's comments. He apologized in a statement on Wednesday, saying, "To speculate about such a situation is ridiculous."
Rob Lowe also has a strange connection with the 9/11 terrorist flights, as does James Woods. They both were basically on the same flight a month before the attacks, when the hijackers were running like dry runs to know what was going to happen. The reports are coming up, but it's strange that James Woods and Rob Lowe, both Seth MacFarlane buds, and Marky Wahlberg, a Seth MacFarlane bud, and Seth MacFarlane all have weird connections.
My attorney, Larry Stein. Larry Stein calls. He says, "I'll get right back to you." 5 minutes later, and I can tell by the way he says hello when he picks up the phone, it's not good news. And he says, "You were on a dry run. They were all on the plane with you. They have the flight manifest, and this lunatic wants to talk to you."
I mean, an extraordinary thing to be told.
interviews. In August 2001, actor James Woods was on a flight from Boston to Los Angeles when he observed some Middle Eastern passengers acting strangely. He told authorities what he saw, and the FBI has apparently corroborated that it may have been a dry run for the 9/11 hijackers.
And when 9/11 happened, we were all stunned, and we all happened to be at my house that evening, and my friend Scott said to me, remember that flight you took in August? I said, yeah, I've been thinking about it all day. He said, well, maybe you should call the FBI. And I said, I'm sure they're being inundated, but I thought it over and I called the local office, and that all 4 of them were terrorists involved.
That is unbelievable. So there was basically a rehearsal with these guys.
So you know what Seth MacFarlane does? He just makes fun of whatever happens in life. So here's what he did with this.
Okay, this is good. We got the D batteries. Let's get back to the present. All right, get on. Oh, we made it.
Yeah, the Super Bowl was cool, but frankly, no Tommy Brady, no Stewie Likey.
Brian, there you are. Come quick. They're about to announce the unveiling of your statue on the news.
Statue? For what?
What do you think, Mr. National Hero? For stopping the 9/11 terrorist attacks and saving our country.
Oh, I can't even express how mad I am at you right now.
If it wasn't for you, those planes would have hit the World Trade Center.
Brian, what the hell did you do?
I, may have told my former self about 9/11.
What did I tell you about altering the past? Wait, when did you even do that?
Well, you remember when I said I was going to take a leak?
Brian, you shouldn't have done that. Who knows what unforeseen consequences are awaiting us? Saddam Hussein could be president. Mexico could be the world's dominant superpower. Cookie Monster could have invented Facebook.
What is this? Cookie book.
Brian, hurry, it's starting.
Good evening, I'm Tom Tucker.
And I'm Joyce Kinney.
Our top story, Quahog prepares to unveil a new statue commemorating perhaps its greatest hero ever.
That's right, Tom. It was 10 years ago that an almost inconceivable plot to destroy the World Trade Center was thwarted by Quahog's own Brian Griffin.
This amateur video captured Griffin's heroism in the face of a shadowy terrorist organization called Holy look at all those vowels. Al-Qaeda. Here, make sure you get all this. Time to terrorize the terrorists.
Ugh, you prepared catchphrases for yourself?
No, not necessarily. Mohammed oughta stayed home.
Nobody knows that guy's name yet. You're using information that nobody knows.
Houston, we have a solution.
Houston's for space, not everyday air travel.
Tell them to ground every plane out of the East Coast. Seacrest out. Wow, what a hero. Coming up next in sports, Arizona Cardinal Pat Tillman tackled by his own team.
Oh, Brian, we're so proud of you.
Yeah, buddy, great job stopping those terrorists. And thank God their follow-up attack on St. Louis was a bust.
We missed! Brian, I promise you, all of this can only end badly.
Dewey, it's fine. I prevented 9/11. How could that possibly be a bad thing? I mean, come on, I saved like 200 lives.
3,000.
Wow, 3,000?
Oh, you knew what you were doing there.
This major breaking news just in. 9 southern states have declared that they are seceding from the United States.
The announcement came from former President George W. Bush, who reformed the Confederacy after a bitter loss in his 2004 re-election bid.
Bush lost in 2004?
Yeah, he probably couldn't exploit people's fears with no 9/11. Bush appeared before the press today to make this brief statement.
If anyone out there can get their hands on a clown suitcase, I'd very much like to see what's inside of there.
I think we have the wrong clip. What? No? Okay, that was George W. Bush declaring civil war on the northern states.
Oh, my God, civil war?
See, Brian, this is exactly what I was talking about.
Look, Stewie, this doesn't necessarily mean things are going to turn out badly. In fact, I bet 5 years from now, the world will still be better off for what I did.
Is that so? Well, Brian, if you're that sure of yourself, then let's go 5 years into the future and you can prove me wrong.
Fine.